Hi Curious, and welcome back to our channel. Many see country music as the genre that you either love or hate. It is either your cup of tea or not. Yet one artist has managed to break out onto the mainstream charts and even guaranteed him a #1 spot on the Billboard 200 chart for 2 weeks. But who exactly is Morgan Wallen? How did he kickstart his music career? Is there anyone that occupies this country star's heart? And what controversies surround him and his cancelled performance on SNL? Could it be responsible for helping give his career a boost? Stay with us until the very end to learn more interesting news and facts about this young country singer. But before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and the subscription button so you don't miss any of our future videos. And also, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date with all the latest celebrity news. Born Morgan Cole Wallen on May 13th of 1993 in Sneedville, Tennessee. His mother, Leslie, was a teacher and a fan of contemporary Christian music, while his father, whose name is unknown, was a preacher who enjoyed hard rock music. He also has 2 sisters, Ashlyn and Michaela. Morgan had developed a very strong interest in music at a young age, and given his parents' connection to the church, he would sing there since he was 3 years old. At the age of 5, he took up violin lessons and later would also start learning how to play piano and guitar. However, music wasn't always at the forefront of his career goals. When attending Gibbs High School in Corrigan, Tennessee, his passion was baseball, so much that he was even the team's pitcher. And it wasn't just a kid's dream. Wallen was really good at the sport, so much that he was even getting scholarship offers to play in college. Though the reason he turned to music instead of sport was due to the fact that late in his senior year, he sustained an elbow injury that had sadly put an end to his days as a pitcher. And thus he turned to his other passion, which was music, and he seriously started considering that as a career option. Just like many other hopeful musicians, in February of 2014, Morgan had decided to try his luck and enter the popular televised singing competition, The Voice. There, he wowed judges with his rendition of Collide by Howie Day, and it seemed that Wallen's performance impressed Usher, and the hopeful singer joined his team. However, after the second battle round, he was stolen by Adam Levine, Maroon 5's frontman, and thus joined his team, though his run on the show ended in episode 17 when he was eliminated in the playoffs. Despite not winning, his time on the show was fruitful, as it not only gave him nationwide exposure, but it also helped him find a collaborator. So this said collaborator was Sergio Sanchez, who was a member of the band Adam Smash and a vocal coach on the show. Together, the 2 men began writing songs that had suited Morgan's country voice and his rock and roll attitude. Continuing to work on his career, he made the decision to move to Nashville, where he and Sanchez even formed a band called Morgan Wallen and Them Shadows. It was Sergio who introduced him to Bill Ray and Paul Trust of Panacea Records, with whom he signed a deal with in 2015 and recorded several songs that made it onto a 5-song EP titled Stand Alone. It was then that he met Them Shadows. The band had consisted of Dominic Frost on guitar, Mark and Nino on drums, and Luke Rice on the bass. The EP was released on August 24th of that year, with the debut single being Spin You Around. Though Them Shadows was short-lived. That same year, he also began working with Dirk Hemsath of Hard 8 Working Group Management, who would later get him into contact with Big Loud Records, with whom he ultimately signed a deal. Once the deal was signed and all the paperwork that comes with it was finalized, the label sent Wallen on tour of radio stations so that he could get in shape for performing. Busy times followed for the hopeful artist, and in 2016, he impressed audiences and listeners of radio stations with his tune, The Way I Talk, and with another 5-song EP that soon followed. The following year, he collaborated with Florida Georgia Line on the single Up Down, which made it to the top 10 of the country singles charts and which had caused the disc to get a gold record. And that song then became the leading track of his first full-length album, titled If I Know Me, which was released in 2018. The next year, he was back with the single This Bar, and in early of 2020 with More Than My Hometown. The latter would become the first single of his album Dangerous, the double album. That single had reached #1 on Billboard's country airplay chart, and it perfectly set the stage for the release of his second full-length album that had come out on January 8th of 2021. The album itself has got a few impressive achievements behind its belt, and that is by spending 2 weeks in a row at #1 on the Billboard 200 album charts. And with that came some serious achievements. It is the first country album to spend that long at #1 since Chris Stapleton's Traveler record back in 2015, and that had spent a week on the charts. However, with Stapleton's album, the difference is that he was released in May of 2015 and debuted at number 14, but only re-entered the chart and got the coveted number 1 spot after his multiple wins and a well-received performance at the Country Music Association Awards that year, whereas Wallen's album spent its first 2 weeks on the charts. Do you think that's impressive, Curious? Make sure you stay with us until the very end, as we will tell you some controversies that surrounded the singer. But while his career is going strong, can the same be said for his love life? For those of you who might not be aware, the 27-year-old is a father. He has a little son with his ex, Katie Smith. The two were previously engaged as his career was rising, and for the most part it was unclear how the two of them had met or when. But there had been a few photos of them together that dated back to 2017, and that same year they were spotted attending the CMT Music Awards together. However, the two of them had actually called it quits. The exact date that the two had broken up is unknown. However, on the 10th of July of 2020, Katie had given birth to the couple's son, Indy Wilder. Morgan shared the news with his Instagram followers on July 14th by sharing a photo of himself holding his newborn son. In the caption he wrote, "Since you came into the world Friday, I see mine differently now. It's not just me anymore, and I'm glad it's not. This year has been the hardest of my life in so many ways, but that's not what I will remember it by. You are." And not much is known about what his relationship with Smith is like and what their co-parenting decisions will be, but in the same Insta post he assured his little son that he will be the dad that he deserves and the co-parent his mother deserves, so we can safely assume that the two are on somewhat good terms. So while his career is growing and his album is making records, how is this translated into his bank account? While the exact figures are unknown, many sources estimate that Wallen's net worth to be between $2 to $3 million. And at the moment, the young singer has 2 million followers on his Instagram page, where he regularly updates his fans with little snippets of his life. And according to Spotify, he has claimed his title as country music's next superstar with a whopping total of 3.4 billion on-demand streams. Though where there is fame, fortune, and popularity, there are often controversies and at times severe consequences for people's actions. And his consequence resulted in him losing his spot to perform on SNL. But we'll tell you about how it got to that right now. On the weekend of October 3rd of 2020, the music star was reportedly seen partying at the University of Alabama alongside students after a college football team, the Crimson Tide, had beat their rivals Texas A&M. The college students and the star went out to celebrate the victory, and videos from that night had been shared on the popular video sharing app TikTok. And just as parties go, you might imagine what went down. The singer was posing with fans, drinking, and allegedly making out with girls, and according to reports by others who attended the party, he was even seen in the backseat of a fan's car. But it's not the partying in itself that was the issue, but the current situation in the world with the global pandemic. Yeah, from the footage it did not seem like the star or any of the students were abiding by social distancing rules that have been in place. As the videos came to light, it turned out that the actions have consequences. First, fans took to Twitter not only to criticize their partying and their not following CDC guidelines, some were also quick to point out that most of the college students were probably 18-19, while Wallen himself is 27. However, it wasn't just the cry out from Twitter that resulted in all of that, but the fact that it seems that the producers of Saturday Night Live weren't thrilled about their upcoming musical guest's actions. He was set to make his SNL debut on October 10th alongside host Bill Burr, though that never came to be. Posting a video to his Instagram, he let his fans know that he will no longer be performing. In it, he told his fans that he was sitting in his New York City hotel room getting ready to tape the show when the producers had called him and let him know that he would no longer be able to play and that it was because of the COVID-19 protocols. He revealed that while tests negative, his actions had obviously affected his long-term goals. Though he did in the end make his debut 2 months later, and the sketch had to reflect his actions that stopped his appearance in October. In it, described with on-screen text as taken place the University of Alabama 2 months ago, Morgan is seen barging into a bar without a face mask, and then he goes on to say, "to no consequences," before agreeing to kiss someone as long as she didn't post it to social media. A girl who was played by Chloe Fineman said, "Okay, just on TikTok, I promise." Well, it seems that the show's writers and Wallen himself were able to find some humor in the incident. With the success of his album having been in Billboard's Top 200 for 2 weeks as we've mentioned above, and as being #1 on Spotify's global albums chart as well, had people talking whether it was the publicity due to the issues with SNL that had anything to do with his popularity, and some Twitter users even went as far as to claim that celebrities never face any consequences for their actions, also mentioning that ultimately he did get to make his debut on the show. So curious, what are your thoughts on the situation? Do you think SNL did the right thing by canceling his performance? Do you think they were in the wrong for inviting him back? Are you fans of the singer? And what are your thoughts on his music? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos.